from Bridged by Words, I want to thank the Parliament House staff for being so accommodating and allowing us to record here on the premises, interviewing a few of the politicians and getting their advice for you and your political journey, audience. So big shout out to Brenda, Chris and Michael. Thank you very much. So welcome to Bridged by Words, the podcast where aspiring leaders connect with experienced politicians, gaining insights and inspiration for their own political journeys. Today I'm joined by Joe McCracken. I'll start that again. Today I'm joined by Joe McCracken, the Upper House MP for, is it West?
Western Victoria.
Western Victoria. Yep. So, silly me, I've just butchered the intro a little bit there. But how would you best introduce yourself?
I'm Average Joe.
Average
and
Joe?
That's it. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, 100%.
All right, humble. He's very humble. So I did a bit of skulking on the Instagram. I try to start off a bit light.
Uh-oh.
That's all right. You haven't done anything too crazy. What I wanted to talk about is that I've seen the common thread. There's like this real youth and civics engagement that you do.
Yeah. Which
I think is very good and very in line with what we do here. So if you wanted to sort of maybe expand on that a bit and what it means to you and how...
Yeah, well, it sort of goes back to when I started teaching, and I've always had an interest in civics, politics, public life, that sort of thing, because it's like that old saying, you may not have an interest in politics, but politics has an interest in you.
And ominous.
It is a bit ominous. It's almost a bit Orwellian in a way.
Yeah.
But I always thought that if you want to change a society, you've got to be an active, engaged member of that society and know what's going on. And so I thought when I got into teaching, I found that a lot of students, they really just didn't know how the system worked. And for these young people going out, preparing them to be young adults, I thought, well, that's one of the key things that you have to know in order to be a contributing, functioning member of society, is to know what you're doing and how your actions fit into the broader system. So when I first started teaching, the curriculum was, at the school I was at, wasn't particularly developed. So I eventually became head of department and wrote the curriculum myself.
Wow, yeah.
And we ended up having it as a whole term.
Yeah.
Of just civics and citizenship. So the things that we would look at are even really simple things like, what's the difference between a rule and a law? So we'd look at those sort of things and say, okay, well, if you're at home, what is a rule? So you have to have dinner at 6 o'clock, or just very basic things like that, as opposed to like, don't speed on the road. And, then you develop into things like, well, how is Parliament structured? How do you make laws? How do you have a discussion with people that's civil, as opposed to just screaming and yelling? Why do we live in a country that is democratic as opposed to a North Korea?
Yep.
And sort of airing those discussions. And it's really surprising because as time went on, we managed to get up a VC politics class. And I love teaching it. We did global politics. One year we did Australian politics, another year, and I felt really proud about that because the people that I'd sort of plant the seed with in year 7, it obviously had started to blossom and grow in year 11 and 12. So it's not really a common subject that's taught across Victorian schools. I think across the entire state there might have only been maybe 500-600 kids that study Australian politics, which for me I thought, wow, that's really
very
low.
Narrow.
And global politics was probably not that much higher. It might have been maybe 11, 12, 1300. It fluctuated year on year.
Yeah.
And I thought, wow, that's really low as well compared to English, which had 50, 60,000 students. It's a fraction of that.
And we still have a weird accent, Australians. But there's more of them studying it.
Yeah, so that's... Okay. Anyway, so that's... To answer your question, that's why I thought civics education was really important.
Yep.
And, getting young people involved in why and how and the way that we do things.
More than just like how to vote cards.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, there's more you can do.
Yeah, and how you can get involved and engaged and what it means to be... involved in civic life, why it's important to give back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. That's good. Yeah, that's a good reason. And then I guess another thing I wanted to touch base on was your experience as a mayor and being on the city council. What sort of lessons learned there, or experiences there, or anything you want to share?
It was fascinating because I was born in Ballarat, and I was an accountant and wasn't really enjoying that. So I thought, what am I going to do with my life? So I have those crossroads moments in life.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, I still want to use the skills that I've got, so I'm going to go into teaching. So I did. And I thought, I'll be in Colac, which is where I had my job. I might be there 2 or 3 years and then go to another school. That's quite often what happens with teachers. They'll get a few experience. But I really love the community, and I felt really welcome there. So I thought, I want to run for council and give something back, because the council at the time wasn't in a particularly good way. And I thought, it's easy to stand on the sidelines and say, that's bad, that's bad, that's bad. But it's a lot harder to get involved, roll up your sleeves and make a difference.
Yeah.
So I thought, I'll run. I taught, I won't say half the kids in the district and had contact with their parents, but I taught a fair few, and I thought, maybe I'll have a go. And I did. I got elected 3rd out of 7, which I was happy with.
Yeah.
And then at that age, I was 28 when I got elected on council, and a year later I became mayor at 29. So,
because it's a similar thing, it sort of rotates the position, or is it a voted for? Or
well, the councillors in themselves vote for
who. Yeah. Okay.
So we had 7 councillors. So I had 4 that supported me. So including myself. So it got 4 out of 7 is enough to get over the line. So it was an interesting time though, and I tell you, the learning curve was just almost straight up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are some examples? Like,
I guess working in an environment like teaching and accounting too, to an extent, like you're very client focused. You're very much about, you're here to make sure that there's an outcome.
Yeah.
And you work collaboratively together to make sure that you get the best possible situation for a client or a student or family or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I found in council, it's meant to be like that, but a bit like Parliament as well. It's also set up to be naturally adversarial.
Yeah.
And I found that really difficult to deal with for a start, because at a point in time, you make a decision, and whatever decision you make, you realise that someone is going to be upset with you because of that decision.
Yeah.
And I just, the whole concept of that made it really difficult for me.
It's kind of hard to please everyone.
You can't please everyone. Yeah. And, you want to do the best that you can for the most amount of people you can and have the broadest impact. But there's just some decisions where, like for an example, a planning decision, if you approve something here, it means other people around it might be impacted in some way, shape or form.
Yeah, it's going to shut their street down.
Now, whether it might be really good for local economic development, bring in hundreds of jobs, it might be bad for a few people around it. So it's always the balancing act.
Yeah.
But I guess the fact that I found it difficult for the fact that, you make those decisions and someone's going to not like you, that didn't really sit well with me. Mm-hmm. But that's just part of making decisions.
Yeah, okay. Do you have to put them on a scale and try to...
Well, you'd have to put it on your own scale in here.
Yeah. Like through your own...
Yeah, through your own prism. And the interesting thing is everyone has a different idea on which things weigh more on each side.
Yeah, okay.
So, I don't know. The way that I went about it was just trying to listen to people. I mean, my grandparents on my dad's side were both local government councillors as well.
So it was always in you.
It was always there, and I spent a lot of time with my grandma. I loved my grandma to bits. She was one of the people I hold up high in life. And we always used to talk about politics when I was a kid, and she came from a religious sort of background, not full on sort of stuff, but we just talked lightly about religion. She was a part of the Uniting Church, and she, my God, she was born in 1921, so she grew up through the Depression, World War II, I should say. Like, it was a pretty full on sort of life. She got an education up until year 8. Yeah. And that's why I'm passionate about education, is because I saw someone who could have gone so far, but she didn't get the opportunity.
Yeah.
So in her, we used to talk about politics so much, and I guess we'd test each other a bit. Yeah.
A bit of a sparring sort of thing about
not so much sparring. It was just about different perspectives on things. And
okay.
I've always tried to, in politics, you know, you can have heated debate and that's fine, but at the end of the day, you still got to be able to give the person a handshake at the end and say, you know what, we might disagree, but we
still share a room.
Pardon?
You still share a room. You have to work together.
Exactly. You got to work with people.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, wow. Oh, that's cute. That's lovely. The grandma, She's still with us or no?
She unfortunately, she passed away at the end of 2023 where she was 102 years old.
Wow.
So, God, I hope those genes have fallen through to me.
Yeah, right. Hopefully, yeah. So I guess we've kind of already touched on it, but like what was an everyday, like a regular day like for you before you entered politics?
Well, before I went into politics, I was teaching and being a counsellor, so I would get up in the morning, we'd have a morning briefing at school at 8:30 in the morning, and then I'd go into class. Sometimes you'd have free periods, so you'd be able to prepare, but like I spent most of my day on my feet just talking and teaching and, you know, engaging with young people. I loved it. I really loved it. And then when we had council meetings, you know, sometimes they'd go to midnight. So when we have late sittings here, it's not so bad because I'm sort of a bit match fit for it.
Kind of used to it already.
Yeah. But you had a lot more like free time. These times now I'm in, you literally can start the day at 7:30 in the morning, and like last sitting week we finished at 1:30 at night.
Yeah, I was told there was one at like 4 a.m.
I
spoke to Evan and he was like, 4 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah, that was the latest one.
They just get so like, just because it's debate or discussing a top, like.
Yeah, it can depend really. Sometimes if it's a really controversial issue, it is debate. Sometimes we have a committee stage, it's called, of the bill where it's a little bit less formal and you can ask questions and really try and nut out some of the more in-depth aspects of a bill. So sometimes they can take a long time to sort of draw out. So that's usually where that process gets elongated.
Yeah, okay. Before it gets brought to the big room and...
Well, no. It's still in the same room.
Oh, okay.
It's still in the chamber there, but it's sort of like a more casual way of asking questions. Mm-hmm. I don't want to say it's more casual because it's not, but it's just a little bit less formal in the sense that you've got a minister sitting there. You can have a lot more back and forth rather than having to go through the more formal process of like question
Mr. Speaker.
time. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay, all right. Yeah. Anything else to add? Like, yeah, sorry. So that was kind of it. Just you were used to it through council.
Sort of used to it, but it's just... Actually, school's a really good preparation for being in politics because, like when we walk into the dining room here, everyone's sort of got their spot, and it's a bit like walking to the staff room because, like, okay, you can't sit on that table because that's the PE table. Yeah. You can't sit on that one because that's where the arts people are.
Right.
And it's not strictly like that here, but, you know...
There is a little bit of a vibe.
It's a little bit there.
Yeah, okay.
Apparently in the past it used to be very sort of, okay, that's a Liberal table, that's a Labor table.
Yeah.
And it was very, I don't want to even say segregated, but just separate like that. Whereas I don't think it's so much like that now.
Okay, so you could go to each table and be like, hey, mate, how you doing?
Yeah,
it's a bit more friendly, a bit more approachable.
But it's so weird because, like, in our chamber there's 40 of us. Most people know each other to say hello to. Mm-hmm. Whereas in the lower house, there's 88 people, and it's like two different worlds in two different orbits. So I don't see most of the Labor Party people in the lower house.
Yeah,
some of them I'd know to them to talk to, but a large majority of them I wouldn't. And it's really weird because, like, you know who each other is, but you just don't really have much to do with each other in the day-to-day business of the work that we do.
Yeah, okay, because it is separate houses and stuff. Yeah, all right, that makes sense. So was that... So making the decision to take up a position in the upper house or put yourself forward for the election campaign, was there something that really annoyed you that made you want to step up, or was it just a natural progression?
I think probably more a natural progression. Like I did, the whole idea of wanting to do something different with my life was when I was an accountant, and I was literally sitting at my desk, and I used to do tax returns for a super fund. So I was doing this one tax return, and It's sort of like when you go to the pokies and you pull down the thing and ding, 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 ding. And I saw this tax return up on the screen, and the amount that I'd got the client was more than my yearly salary.
In like a refund?
In a refund.
Whoa.
I'm like, Joe, what are you doing with your life? And it hit me like a lightning bolt. And I just made the decision from there that I wanted to do something different.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to give back to people rather than just worry about the almighty dollar.
Yeah. Just pressing a button and make the figures do the thing. And
Literally, dunk, 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 ching.
yeah.
And I just thought, I'm going to try and use my skills in a different way. So that's what wanted me to sort of go in the direction of teaching. And then it just sort of cascaded from there.
Yeah.
Teaching, council, state.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm going federal, by the way. But
Come here. You hear it here first. There's an announcement.
Nah, and that's just sort of, I wanted to have a broader impact.
Yeah, yeah. So like on the education front,
Yep.
do you feel that like why the Liberal Party? I guess not. This isn't a very political thing.
No.
But like, how does that best align with you and what you stand for? And
Yeah, well, I have always been of the view that people should be empowered to make their own choices in life, and
hence Liberal.
Well,
I guess,
yeah.
yeah.
And I tried to do that through education. And as much as I used to teach politics, I wouldn't teach kids what to think.
Yeah.
I teach them how to think.
Yeah.
How to be critical, how to analyse, how to come to a conclusion on their own, how to look through what was being presented and see what things really were.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it was a natural thing to, and look, I joined the Liberal Party when I was 19 years old.
Yeah.
So it was long before I was even a teacher. But I'd grown up in a small country town in Beaufort, which is, just half an hour west of Ballarat there. My parents, we had a pub when I was growing up, so I used to work there. I was a dish pig. So
don't stress. I was as well.
Yeah,
I've been a dish
yeah.
pig in an Irish pub at
Yeah.
Tambourine. Yeah, don't worry.
And it was okay. And look, even those experiences were pretty formative for me because you had to work hard.
Yep.
It was a family business. So if it sunk, then our livelihood sunk.
Yep.
So I was there to help out and do what I could. And I was only, 14, 15-year-old at the time. So I wasn't particularly skilled, but you contributed where you could.
Yep.
And then because of that, the family benefited.
Mm-hmm.
So the value of hard work, reward for effort, and making sure that, you think about the people that you're serving there.
Mm-hmm.
When we took over the pub, it was not as good as when we left it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mean that to sound how good are we sort of thing.
No, it's
It's more the sense that you go there to make something better than when you found it.
Yep. Which is very common thread through politics as well.
Yeah. And that's probably fair to say on all sides of politics, people want to go in for those sort of reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Someone's described it to me once is that everyone wants to get to the top of a mountain. It's just everyone's got a different pathway of getting there.
Yeah. Some might abseil up or whatever.
Well, some might rock climb up too. You never know.
I'll take a helicopter. Who knows?
Exactly.
Who knows?
But
yeah.
So anyway, that's why I chose the Liberal Party, because I thought, it aligns with my values of empowering the individual, reward for effort.
Yep.
If you work hard, you get the reward sort of thing.
Yeah.
And
which is very obvious when you, especially working on a small business.
Yeah,
with the family,
exactly.
Small business, yeah.
But also in education too. Like if you work hard and you study, you get the results that you need. You work towards whichever life you want to lead to.
Yep.
So it was just sort of a natural thing for me, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. No, I was just curious.
Yeah. No. Please. Yeah.
So, was taking that leap to public office in the upper house, was it scary, or was it more of a why not me? Maybe I am better suited for this, or maybe. Not in an egocentric way.
No.
So far, you've really given an example of how you've shown how humble you can be. That's not what I'm getting at. I mean, more like a.
I think I get what you're saying. I think for me, I have always found those people that are, chest beaters. Look how good I am. That's not my style.
Yeah.
And I honestly find it a little bit obnoxious.
Yeah.
But it's not uncommon in politics. You have to have a bit of that in you, I guess.
Yeah.
So how did I find that in the entry to politics? I guess the first probably 6 months, you're just figuring out how things work.
Yeah.
The standing orders for the Legislative Council, for example, are, pages and pages long. You're figuring out what you can and can't do.
When you can say it, or
exactly. Even what's the difference between an adjournment, debate, a constituency question, member statement, all those sorts of things. You just plus the rough and tumble of the party, who's who in the zoo. People are trying to, do their work, and you've got to figure out, okay, well, where can I make a difference, sort of thing. Because there's already people in there that have got established roles and positions. You don't want to come in there and step on anyone's toes and all that sort of thing. So you just feel your way, I guess.
Yeah.
But also, too, you've got the dynamic of, okay, well, there's other people in this place that have come from different perspectives, from different parties. I think the upper house is a lot more conducive to people working together because no one has a majority.
Yeah. Whereas a bit more of like that compromise.
Yeah.
Finding the common ground.
In the lower house, the government have always got the numbers so they can do what they want there.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the upper house does work best when people from all different perspectives can come together. No one's got a monopoly on good ideas.
Yep.
And there's a compromise that can be found.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes that compromise might be between the Greens and the government. Sometimes it might be between us and the Greens and others on the crossbench too. But you've got to get to that magic number of 21 votes out of 40 to get something through. Yep. And no one has 21 votes. So it means by default you've got to work with someone else.
Yeah. So it wasn't scary? It just felt like
scary is probably not the right word. It was intimidating.
Yeah, okay.
Because you look at all the people that are in there and they're very good at public speakers. I wasn't a particularly good public speaker when I was young. And even you'd think, oh, geez, this bloke used to be a teacher. Of course he'd be good at it. No, I wasn't.
Yeah.
It's a skill that you had to literally build up from, zero to whatever you'd rate me as now.
No, I get it. Like, you go back and watch my first interview,
yeah,
and it takes practice.
It does.
And I'm still not great at it, but
you're doing great.
Oh, thanks. But no, it's practice.
It is practice.
Yeah.
So those sort of things intimidated me, and I'm the sort of person that will sit back and observe first and sort of get a feel of things before I jump in.
Yeah.
I'm probably a bit more cautious in that way.
Mm-hmm.
Some things I'll jump in if I'm a bit more confident. But yeah, to answer your question, was it scary? Not scary, just intimidating because of the things that you don't know.
Yeah, okay. But the way you could handle it was good. Like the way you sort of have that step back, observe it, then
suss it out a bit. Yeah.
Okay. So once you get in, and you did mention sort of, sussing it out. What were some of the biggest lessons you had to learn fast once you get in?
That's a really good question. There's a lot of different lessons that you learn really quickly. You've got to be able to run 4 minutes from your office up to the chamber.
Yeah.
From when the bells run.
Is the office in this building or is it just across the street?
It's in that precinct. It's called the Annex out the back of the Parliament. So it's in the Parliament precinct, but that building was built at 2018, I think it was, because all the offices used to be upstairs in the building.
Yep.
And so I think the bells used to be 3 minutes, now they're 4 minutes. And so you've got to... It's sort of like going into Hogwarts, this building.
Yeah. We felt when we came to have a tour and check out which room, it was just like, oh, does this one move? You're pushing all the bricks.
Exactly. And so it took me a little while, like, okay, this is the route that I take to get up to the chamber.
Yep.
So, I mean, just little things like that.
Yeah. Learning that, get there quick enough.
Get there quick enough. I mean, what is a division even? It's a vote in the chamber. Mm-hmm. Even just the lingo of things and what they mean.
Yeah. And how they carried over from the time.
Yeah.
You got comfy shoes though?
These shoes, they're
comfy enough to do
pretty
running?
comfy. Yeah.
Okay, good. So that's one of the bigger lessons. Working out how to get through here quick enough to
I gotta say,
be
like,
where you need to be.
One of the most important lessons I think though is that you come in, from a major party and you think the other side is, always wrong and you're always right and vice versa.
Yeah.
Particularly in the upper house, I think you build relationships with people from all different sides of Parliament and you try and work together to get things done because you cannot ever forget why you're here. Mm-hmm. Because you're put here by people that elected you.
Yeah.
That has got to be your first and only consideration for the things that you do.
Yeah.
There's always different lenses you put on about it, about, you know, your party, your philosophy and that sort of thing. But at the end of the day, it's your electorate that put you here. So you've got to do justice to them first.
There's a quote I heard from Aaron Violi when I spoke to him. He's like, you're on a 3-year, or state Victoria, 4-year interview.
Yeah.
The whole thing's the interview.
Exactly.
Essentially, yeah.
Yep.
You're answering to the people.
Yeah. And it is hard to sort of think about. So when I was a teacher, I used to go into the supermarket and you'd basically have parent-teacher interviews in there.
Yeah, okay.
When I got to be a counsellor, it was teacher interviews and fix my road.
Yep. Get cornered off in the freezer section.
If I go yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And now when I go to the supermarket, it's like, oh, Joe, why is there this tax?
Yep.
Plus potholes. Plus, are you still teaching? No.
Obviously not. I'm a bit busy. Yeah, okay.
So it's funny how those sort of things happen, but you always have to be sort of aware that people are watching. I know that sounds weird and stalkery.
Yeah.
But
no, it's because it's just you're in public life. It's a bit like that. And is that hard to try and strike that balance? Stay connected, be your own person.
My
still,
home is my sanctuary. So if I go there, I can go home and be in trackies and, you know, wear a hoodie or something like that, and I don't want to talk to anyone.
Yep.
My home is sanctuary, so I will just sit there and listen to music or watch TV or I don't know, whatever.
Yep.
Read a book.
Yeah.
Once I'm outside of that front door, it's like the face is on.
Yeah. Okay.
And I sort of hate that in a way because I don't want to feel as though I have to go out in the public and put a face on, but it's like putting a uniform on.
It feels, is it more of a face or is it more that part of you to best represent them in a sense?
It's like putting a game face on.
Yeah,
you don't
okay.
change who you are, but you know that you're going into a particular environment that the nature of is different to other work. So
put your best foot forward.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of pressure.
It can be a lot of pressure.
Wow. Okay,
but I think the biggest pressure in this game is to stay authentic and genuine as well. You don't want to ever sell yourself out. And you always see politicians on TV, right? And they're just like, blah, 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 blah. And people can offer you media training. They can offer you all the different skills and supports under the sun. I think people these days just want someone who's normal and genuine and willing to have a chat.
Yeah, okay. The more real you are, the more appealing you are.
Keep it real, bro.
Keep it real, bro. So was it everything you expected or did reality hit differently once you started working here?
Oh, some things were as I was expected, but other things were just not as expected. Like, it just takes a lot of work to do the job. You're working usually 6 or 7 days a week.
Yep.
Weekends are taken up with going to various community events or, you know, cultural activities or those sort of things. And that's cool. I love going to them.
Yeah.
But for me, like, I'm naturally an introvert.
Really?
Yeah. I've done those Myers-Briggs tests.
Yeah.
Do you know those ones?
Yeah.
I always come up with an I, an NTJ it is.
Yeah, okay.
And so the I is introvert.
Yeah.
And I'm only, as time has gone on, I've become less of an introvert because I've had to be.
Yeah. So it's a learned skill.
Yeah. But it takes me energy to do that sort of stuff. And so when I come home, I'm just like, oh.
Thank God I can just take the shoes off.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
And so, yeah, that's a part of it that when you're teaching or that sort of thing, for me, it was just not as much energy because it wasn't as much time out in the public.
Yeah. It was just 9 to 3.
Yeah.
As the teaching.
Yeah. The face-to-face time was,
Yeah. Okay. So what were some of the parts that you didn't really expect the most or like that sort of hit you with big surprise entering this role?
That's a good question. I think the things that I didn't really expect as much is just you meet people on all sides of politics and you soon realise that you have more in common with people that are of a different party than what you might have initially thought.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that you always agree, but you might find that you agree on half the things out there as opposed to zero.
Yeah.
And then even in minor parties, you can still find common ground. Whereas I initially thought that coming into this place, there might be people that we'd never ever see eye to eye on anything. And I'm actually really glad that that's not the case.
Yeah.
Because under every person, there's actually like a real human being under there.
Yeah.
And
who care about their community and
they care about their community. They want to do a good job.
Yeah.
I think 95% of people in this place go about their job because they want to do a good job. They go about it with good faith, good intent, and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
You might get the odd occasion where people do it just because, they got a grudge to settle, or some of those things like that. Usually long-standing sort of stuff. But by and large, I think people go about it with good intent, and I think that's where you get good outcomes, where people want to engage productively with things and compromise and listen and respect and all those things that people should be moral modelling, I think.
Yeah. Finding that compromise, especially in the upper house.
Yeah.
Is there any standout moments or any people that you were most surprised by without?
Well, it's actually really funny. So Georgie Purcell, who's the Animal Justice Party MP, when I was a councillor, she was working for the Animal Justice MP for Western Victoria, which covered my council area. Mm-hmm. And we didn't really know each other to talk to, but we had a few interactions on emails and that sort of thing. And, coming from a country area, I was very pro-farming. Animal Justice Party had different views, and we'd sometimes have clashes on email and that sort of thing.
There was already kind of this set adversary.
And so when we got here, though, Georgie and I ended up having a gig on 3AW with Neil Mitchell there, and it was the start, and I dare say still continuing, of a really good friendship.
Yeah?
Yeah, absolutely.
What were some of the eye-to-eye things?
Well,
or is that too personal?
No, not at all. We would just talk about our life experiences and where we grew up, because she grew up not too far from Colac there in Inverleigh. Yeah. And we realised that, as much as we do come from different perspectives, we can still talk and disagree furiously on, greyhound racing or jumps racing or whatever. That's all cool. But at the end of the day, we get along like a house on fire. She's a really nice person.
Yeah. There's still that country common thread.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Loving your neighbour. It's a
love thy neighbour.
Very common thing in
not
the country.
Not that I'm particularly religious, but there you go.
No, I'm not. Yeah, we don't have to. We're not religious here. But so I guess with that, how do you best stay connected to your community and how you were before politics, or if it was even important? How much has changed?
I still think it is incredibly important to know what's going on in your community. Mm-hmm. And my grandma always used to say to me, Joe, you've been given 2 ears and 1 mouth. Mm-hmm. Use them in that proportion.
Listen twice as much as you speak.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And I'm not perfect at that.
Yeah,
but
same. You could ask my partner that. I'm not either.
But you go out into the community, you've got to make an effort to go out.
Yep.
So you do that, and you let people have a chance to talk to you about things. What's on their mind? What are the big issues? Mm-hmm. You monitor what's going on in the papers and in the media and that sort of thing. You don't always have to believe everything you read, but if there's factual things, you think, oh, geez, that's no good.
Yeah. And then I guess you in your position, you could easily read that and go, oh, hang on, let me just double check that.
Yeah.
And you could touch base with the person who it's actually about.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. But, I mean, for example, that situation that they had over just on the weekend in Cobblebank was just an awful, horrible situation where those 2 young people were, unspeakable horror for the families that were involved. And it's those sort of moments where being connected to community is so important. Mm-hmm. Because, for example, tonight they got a candlelight vigil there that I'm hoping to get to.
Oh, well, I better not keep...
No, it's all right. It's all right. It's later on. Okay. It's in the evening. But it's those sort of things that you think, wow, those sort of things can make a big difference to your understanding of who's in the community. What are their dreams and what are their desires? What are their ambitions? Mm-hmm. What are the things that need working on.
Yeah.
And if you don't listen to people in the community, why are you here?
Yeah.
You're a representative.
Yep.
If you're not representing people,
Probably not the right job.
find another job.
Yeah, yeah. You haven't changed much since entering
I
this
probably
world?
have. I don't know.
Because you did say you're slowly becoming a little more extroverted
Slowly.
against your will, I guess.
Probably dragged, kicking and screaming.
But that's all right.
Oh, look, I don't know. I don't know if I'm the best person to answer that one.
That's
People
fine, you
would
don't have
probably
to.
say to Jerry, you've changed. Joe. I hope I haven't.
Yeah.
You just get used to talking more.
Mm-hmm.
As we sort of talked about before, it's a bit of one of those skills that you sort of acquire and learn. You get used to the way the place runs and the weird flow of this weird workplace. I hope fundamentally, though, I haven't changed. I don't think my values have changed, and I really do hope that my, wanting to do good for the community.
Mm-hmm.
If that ever changes, get me out of here. I shouldn't be here.
Yeah, keeping that as the North Star.
And just being grounded.
Yeah.
Just egos and that's
Not relevant. Not needed.
not necessary, I don't
Yeah.
think. If ever, I've always said this to many people, if I get too big for my boots, take me down a rung or two. I need it.
Yeah, yeah. Keep me humble.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because you're a public servant.
Yeah, you
You
represent
serve
them.
the public.
Yeah.
They're my boss.
Well, thank you for representing us. I guess we'll jump on to the final question.
Yes.
And I'll let you be free. So if you could go back to the first moment you ever considered entering politics, what advice would you give yourself and why?
That's a good question. I reckon the first time I would even have considered politics as a thing would have been when I was in grade 6
Yeah.
and we had a trip to Canberra.
Yeah, a very instrumental time. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think at that point in time, it was, grade 6 was 1999 for me.
Mhm.
So it's a long time ago now. That probably tells you how old I am.
That's all right.
But
I was at a Wiggles concert, I think. Don't stress.
yeah, I just remember going to Canberra and everything was so big and I thought, oh, wow, this is it just had a big impact on me.
Mhm.
We met our local member up there, gone through Parliament House, and I thought to myself, these people are making a difference. They're literally writing the laws that we all live by.
Mm-hmm.
And so I guess to answer your question, what would I say to myself back then? And I still try and live by this as well. It's just be authentic.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I can swear on here. I'm not going to, but my dad always used to say, Joe, people have got a pretty good BS radar.
Yep.
So don't try and be anything that you're not, because people figure it out in the end anyway.
Yeah.
So I think if I was going to tell my former self that message, that probably would have
Yeah. Be authentic.
been it. Yeah, just don't try and be something you're not.
Yep.
Just be yourself.
All right. Good closing. Good closing mark there. Yeah. All right. Beautiful. Thank you very much for your time today.
Oh, mate, thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed it.
No,
I hope
you
I've
did.
been helpful.
Yeah, you will. Yeah, we've got it recorded. We'll have it up somewhere. But yeah, thank you again.
No, thanks.
All right.